Hi, everybody. I'm Big Glass House, editor-in-chief here at the Globalist, and today I'm very proud to announce that we are hosting the second live executive debates, this time with help from DNN. We will be streaming these, playing them via video later on. So expect great things, and I'll start off with the first question. This is aimed at everyone here. I will place this in the
Chat. Yeah.
excuse me, I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties.
Well, it's a good way to get started.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit of a rocky start here. Okay, so first off, this is from Behemoth. What time zone is everyone in?
I am in UK time, but it's fuzzy. Some people say BST, GMT. I don't know. I'll give you the simple answer of UK time, whatever time zone that may be.
I'm in Mountain Time.
And if you're listening in, Ajo Melodium is CST time, and Behemoth would be Pacific Standard Time. And most of the ministry, as it is in Eastern Standard Time. Now, second question, and we're going to go on the kind of rule of thumb of honesty here. How good is everyone actually at playing Civ?
How good am I? Well, that's objective. I've got about 583 hours clocked in on Civ 5. I think I've got about 100 accumulated on every other title, so I do have a favorite, Civ 5. I completed games up to deity. I mean, I can't tell you if I'm better than anyone in the ministry right now, but I am. I think I stand my ground. I think I'm an okay player.
Okay, that's good to hear, and we've not quite hit in on Behemoth or HOS yet, but we await their answers.
If I recall correctly, I don't think Ajo has actually played the game.
I believe he said something about that. Yeah.
I'm terribly sorry.
So go ahead.
I'm terribly sorry. I forgot to introduce everyone in the beginning. That's on me. Once again, I'm a little bit new to this, but what we have here is we have Ajo Smith, who is running for Mayor of Nottingham. CJRD, which I suppose you can introduce yourself.
Nothing much to me. I ran for general. I wasn't expecting to get in. I fully support Blonde Hog. He is a worthy general. I've been planning to run for minister for a while. Dunker Cork didn't want to get seated again, so I thought I'll seize the day. So I'm running for minister currently. He doesn't. Ajo does not own the game. That's an update.
Okay, and then I have Behemoth here, who is a good longtime friend. Helps me with the Globalist, is my head writer, or I guess our head writer. I don't actually hold any kind of position here. And he is currently within the ministry, and I have him on here to kind of give us a baseline of what kind of we expect out of a brilliant minister as himself.
I've played with numerous Civ games.
Okay, so that's just an update from Ajo Smilodon. I apologize if I'm pronouncing that.
I think it's Smilodon.
Smilodon. You better not be fooling me here. So this is a question from me. I had pre-prepared. What would you say are your plans going forward? Anything particular that you want to get done?
My main plan, some people don't like this, I want to find ways to increase activity. I've speculated on how to do this several times, most involving more work for a minister, which would be me, or the ministry itself, which understandably is not that popular with ministers. They don't like the idea of doing any more work than they currently do. The work would involve voting on play sessions to be played through the week. I've written up on this, finding the electoral debates. It's on the subreddit. My basic platform is activity. I want to increase. Well, I don't think the play sessions we're having now are effective. They're efficient. We're getting stuff done, but we're not attracting people. That's what I want to do. I want to increase the size of the community in whatever way is possible. And I'm not going to name names. Well, I am. Charlie, he has an opposing sort of viewpoint on this. He'd like to go with the way things are now and slowly grow. I'd rather have quick, snappy growth and then sort things out. So it's complicated. I've got a lot of ideas about it, but basically, I want to improve activity.
That is really great to hear. So in that light, I believe we were waiting on Ajo Smillian and Behemoth, unless I have missed their answers.
They're still discussing the previous question.
Of course, I will point out that I'm only recording the live debates channel, so whatever goes on in studio is not on my screen and not going to be in the video.
Okay, where should we be discussing this?
Oh, well,
live
okay.
Debates.
In that case, I will try to keep everyone updated on Behemoth and Ajo Smillian's answers. I apologize for not doing that earlier, but I will keep you guys updated. We're just now waiting for responses from both of them. It's a little bit hard. It's not quite so quick to type everything up, but and I will read those out to you when we get them.
Continue the pace we started. Improve screenshot taking and video posting. I like that point. I don't think the Imgur albums, I haven't heard anyone say that word. I don't think they are effective in entertaining people. I don't even think they're sufficient for the government to look at because there's no stats. I haven't seen the leaderboards aren't even on the screenshots, but yet we're using hex. Well, are we using hex grids? I'm not sure. We're using all sorts. It looks cluttered. It looks ugly. I'd like to see. I asked Dunker Coke for this, but I don't think there's gonna be another play session before the elections are over, unless I'm incorrect. I'd like to see demographics. I'd like to see that sort of thing in the album. I'd like to take cues from T Pangoling's Battle Royale. I really think his Imgur albums are a good example of what we should be doing now. We should be having Domitor does these really nice graphs and stuff. So I'd like to see them in the Imgur album. I think the Imgur album should show not just the game's activity, but Democraciv's actual activity. Like we have debates going on. I'd like to see that in the album. I'd like to see a complete overhaul of the album and where it's put. Like I'm not too concerned with video posting because it might be hard to convey what's going on through a general 1 week. This is what happened this week in Democraciv video. But screenshot taking, definitely. We should be pushing that onto the main subreddit as well, not just our own, because it's our subreddit is, I can't say inactive, but it's very barren as to new content. I see plenty of people talking on there, but not a lot of support for things, you know. So continue the pace we started. I think I also had an idea on what did I call it? I can't remember what I called it, but it would involve taking a turn per day. Whether we vote on that or we take the turns, maybe on the big session we vote on the next 5 turns we're going to take, and then we spread that out across into the week. Or could very possibly take those turns and say that the final 10 turns of the live stream we cut up and we filter them out through the week, so the ministers know what's happened, but the public doesn't. I called it dynamic Democraciv, where as each day passes, it's as if a new day in the game itself has passed. And Charlie doesn't seem to be too bothered about roleplay. I don't think roleplay is too big of a cornerstone in Democraciv, but I think light roleplay should be utilized. Things like you see, what are they called? You see country balls, okay, or whatever they are. Little subplots, things like that. I think that would be nice for. Are they answering the questions? I went off on a tangent there. I'm not sure where I was going with that, but definitely improve screenshot taking and video posting in regards to Behemoth's question, but I don't think we should continue the pace we started. Maybe we should either slow it down and make it more efficient or speed it up tenfold.
Well, thank you for that. And just for the record, he was responding to a question made by Behemoth in his response. And also, I'd like to quote Behemoth here, who's just made his response into the text, who stated, "We continue the pace we started, improving screenshot taking and video posting," which is very good. So the next question we're going to have is a little bit more out there. This is going to be kind of a question to allow everyone to kind of talk about any plans they want to bring up that aren't necessarily all that mainstream, which is, what is your most radical plans moving forward?
Ooh, most radical. Let me think about that. I think the dynamic Democraciv might be quite a controversial plan. I don't think it's too radical. I don't want to be pushing anything that public disagrees with. Things that I won't get much support on. Radical. I would like to see this. This isn't official. I'm not planning to do this. But I would like to see a presidential figure that's elected, and they would be responsible for playing the game and representing the ministry. But as lots of people are worried about in the citizens chat, they don't see a centralization of power. I don't think he would do that, but it would be nice to have a figurehead, and I think that would come into play nicely with roleplay.
That's actually something that we had discussed when we were setting Democraciv up this time, was creating a prime minister role, and we decided to put all that on the ministry to decide if someone's going to take that initiative themselves, or how that's going to work out. We didn't decide to have a central figure, but there's no reason why the ministry can't make that work. So that's an interesting idea.
Yeah, I'd certainly like to see ideas like that thrown around. So I don't want to see a cemented, permanent state of government. I'd like to see it shuffled around a bit. I suggested opening up new branches of government, Whether or not that would end up shutting others down, I'm not sure, but my most radical ideas I haven't worked on too much. I've worked on the ones that are the most pressing, but I will be thinking about these things.
Interesting to hear, certainly. And another update here. Apologies about that. We just got another response from Behemoth, which reads, I quote, "In my position of minister, none. I think keeping a good pace and playing a smart, thorough game with no radical ideas is smart. Overall, I'm waiting for my new computer to show up in a couple of weeks to start working on that video project we had talked about with House. My old one just didn't cut it, and for the record, the Globalist is looking at producing a video talk show, is what he was referring to.
That's a good idea.
I'm still waiting on that response from Ado Smanian. Sorry, I'm terribly sorry about this. But we are going to have to kind of quicken it up. We do have the legislative debates in about 45-ish minutes. So I'm going to start moving on to a few more audience questions. And just remember to keep your responses succinct. Okay, so the next question we have is, and I know I'm just going back on what I just said, but this is my last question from me personally, unless we run out later on. But it's one I really think is quite important in this run, and it's the question of federalization. And should we be more federalized? Should the executive and legislative branch have more powers, or should we be handing more of that down to the mayor positions?
I think the mayors should have more power. That's the whole point of them being there. And when we end up with more cities, a wider empire, I'm sure everyone's in agreement now that we will be playing wide. Should give them a lot more power. It'll quicken things up. Again, time is of the essence. So, but if we do end up playing tall, which I can see happening, maybe we should take some powers for ourselves in the spirit of speeding things up.
Okay, that was a great response. Now we're gonna have a little bit, of course, it will probably be edited out, but just so I let everyone here know that there's gonna be a little bit of silence while I talk to some of the people in the chat who haven't really had their fair run, I don't think. So I will be getting back to you in just a moment with their responses.
And if I wasn't trying to be super serious during this broadcast, I would say this is everyone's cue to start singing different songs all at once. I might or might not have been singing, but my microphone was muted.
I just got a branch from a branch. I apologize. I just got a response from Behemoth, which I believe, I hope was rather jokingly, which stated, I think the legislative branch should be abolished personally. So no. And that was in response to the question of whether or not we should federalize more. So I'm going to go on a limb there and leave that up to your own interpretation. But I have to say I don't entirely disagree.
I think it should be replaced by something, because I doubt the ministers will do anything that the legislative branch has been doing. Maybe they should be put on hiatus, spread out sessions more, but I don't think they should be abolished. Maybe rebranded would be a better term.
And I just got a response from Ajo Smilden, which says, I also hope, rather jokingly, I feel we should abolish the ministry before the legislature. So we're really going on out on a limb here with all these abolishing the government.
Just don't abolish the moderators, or if you do, just the head moderator and 2 of the deputy moderators.
Ajo Smilden also has stated, I would like to create the position of supreme dictator. So good to see we're continuing our road of serious and strong debate.
I doubt he'd fill that position. Stated he can't even make the ministry sessions. So,
Keep it civil. I now suddenly feel far more sympathy for Espresso and the Espresso report as I'm trying to pronounce all these names. I have a question from Chemistry Borgon?
Zemny Bogdan. That's my shot at pronouncing that.
That's
Chemiczny Bogdan. Thank you.
There we go. I thank you very much for that. I would have never gotten that. And that question would be, what do the candidates intend to do to bring new voters to Democraciv?
I think we should be testing things out to do this. Like, as I've said, proving our presentation, if you like, of the game and the community, because the new voters won't necessarily join the Discord. They won't see the activity. To them, nothing is happening, and every week or two, a little album pops up with a few turns being played. They might as well be watching someone play a game of Civ by themselves. They don't see the inner workings, so the novelty is lost on them. So I think we should be showing that stuff at surface to bring new active participants in. I don't necessarily think voters are needed, but rather an active community. They'll vote on their own accords that way. If we really want more voters, we'll have to advertise more. So currently, we're not really posting anything on the main Civ subreddit, and that's how I assume how Battle Royale got so many viewers, because they were putting their goods out for viewing. So I think we should be doing that more effectively.
May I ask a question? Sorry, I'm new here. Hello. No, Anyway, do you mind if I ask a question?
It's a little bit unorthodox. Normally we take questions in studio before we let people jump in, but I suppose go ahead. But
No,
before you do, let me just read out Ajo Smilden's and Behemoth's response to this question, which Ajo Smilden, I think rather smartly, has said, I intend to advertise on multiple subreddits while giving them the ability to make an impact right away. And we're still waiting on more words from him. So that's good to hear, though. And from Behemoth, he states, my project is to do that is on the back burner until I get my new computer. I will update as I get rolling on it. So we can only expect good things from him, of course. He isn't running this election.
going to be very good.
From Ajo Smillian, we also got a finishing of that response, which is including alt accounts. I can double the amount of voters, which I once again assume is a rather unserious answer, but fair enough. We need something to liven that up a bit. Okay, so Blonde Hog, sorry. So Blonde Hog, why don't you go ahead?
I'll ask this to my Welsh friend first, then I'll put it on the live debate if that's okay for the others to answer.
Blonthog is the general, I'd like to add.
Yes, I'm the general. Hello. Most of you knew that. Anyway, so as you know, the ministry is required to play the game. It's their biggest responsibility. Now, how, there's no other way to put this. How good is your computer and how reliable can you be to be able to get the game running without any problems? Because we had a couple of problems recently trying to get the game running. Would you be able to get it running without any problems?
I can hear Blonde Hog just fine.
Okay, I hear Ajo. I don't hear Blonthog.
Hello, 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 hello. Now?
Oh.
Hold on a minute. Should I go out to the chat and come back in just in case?
Why don't you give it a go? I'll repeat your question to him, and
All right, yeah, go ahead.
kind of get this moving along.
Well, you know my question, so just tell him.
Yeah, so why don't you go ahead and answer that?
Oh, okay. I'll ask it again for you, hey Joe. So the ministry, as you know, is required to play the game. It's one of the prerequisites. It's their biggest responsibility. There's no other way to put this. How good is your computer, and how reliable is it so that you're able to play without any problems? Because we've had a couple of problems recently in getting the game running. So how good is your computer, and how well are you able to play it?
Terribly sorry. Could you repeat that, Ajo Smillian?
Yeah, I can't hear him. Nope, still can't hear him.
Yeah, I can't hear AJO at all, and this is the recording. It's not picking him up at all.
I can hear Ajo's background noise, but I cannot hear him himself.
Terribly sorry, everyone, for the technical difficulties. Polster dressed as Behemoth. You wouldn't have a pair of headphones, would you?
Me?
No, I'm speaking to Polster now. Although I'd love to hear your response, CJRD, when you get a chance.
It was originally directed at you, CJRD, so go ahead, that.
And for anyone that didn't notice what happened, anyone viewing this, AJO has changed his name to Polster a moment ago.
Yes, I should mention that. I apologize. I forget sometimes that not everyone is part of the Discord servers funding games.
Oh, by the way, I just saw your thing, House. Why would I need to join in the debates exactly?
Oh, well, that was not supposed to go up here. We're just looking for more voices here, and being the general, I see that as a certainly very important voice, even if you aren't running. So we'd be happy to have you answer a few questions with us here for the 40 odd minutes we have left remaining in this debate.
Yeah, if it's okay with you, I'd rather answer them when I have a more clear idea of what the generalship, will turn out like. If you get what I mean.
That's certainly fair enough. Okay, well, we seem to have a little bit of a problem with this question. So when we get that sorted out, I guess we can sort of move on to a new one. I hope to hear back from everyone on that later, but we should probably keep this moving. So my next question is directly to AGOS Smilden, but I would actually like to ask it to everyone here. So the mayoral powers bill that will be debated in the legislature next session addressing the mayors. And if you need an update, I can look for that real quick. But as just a general rule, your response based on mayoral powers in general, how would you, as a mayor, or in this case, when treating a mayor, allow those more powers to be used? And I can clarify that. I realize it's a little bit long-winded if people need to reword it.
I guess I'll take this as, what powers would I afford to mayors, or how could I afford more powers to mayors? And I can't give a clear answer on that, because sometimes it's necessary to overrule them. I think the general should be given special powers regarding this, seizing production for army or defense units, or in the special case of the Manhattan Project wonders. I think they should have a clear outline of what units are theirs, but then again, that might slow things down a little bit. So there's an important balance to keep between giving them powers and keeping things not complicated. If that's clear.
No, I think that was a fabulous argument and response. Okay, well, we're just waiting on Behemoth and Polster's answers to that, so we'll take a minute, but they're tapping up now. So get ready to hear those. Behemoth has very fairly stated on the question. I apologize about this, or maybe I should have just read it out as it was. That's a little bit on me. Well, actually, that's mostly on me. But Behemoth has kindly said that he's not familiar with the bill in question and really has no comment on it. So that's fair enough to him. Okay, we've just gotten a response from Polster, or as I stated before, AJOS Smilden, which is I will use it in tandem with polls, which I assume is a little joke, to increase the amount of agency the public has, which is actually a very good answer. He hasn't really gone into say detail on how he's going to do that, but I'm certain he probably has a firm plan in place. So now we're gonna head over. I don't believe we have any more audience questions at the moment, but I'm gonna ask one of mine I had prepared before, which is, what do you believe to be the most justifiable use of force? And that is in regards to military action.
What's most justifiable?
Yes, and interpret that however you wish to. You can bend that question to your own regard, which is the idea.
Okay, I'll take this as an opportunity to talk about Siam and Babylon, because there's not really a split. Most people are in agreement that Siam is the most pressing issue. I think Babylon will attack us either for or after Siam does, unless they attack Siam first, which will be, I can't say that will be to our advantage. The force we use should really be discussed with the public. I don't think the minister should go ahead declaring war without actually planning something out either. But whatever it takes to keep us afloat, I think is justifiable. So if we need to take out the threat on the border, whether that be Siam or Babylon, or if we really deem necessary the city-state above us, then we should go ahead and take them over, suppress them, whatever the current executive branch deems necessary. Again, I think the general should have more power in scouting out places he'd like to attack, or potentially attack or defend. Attack.
Could I ask just a quick follow-up question to that?
Please go ahead.
Right. So I was observing the session, I believe, on Saturday, I think, or around that time. And what struck me as odd is that even I agree with the points that you make that Siam, Babylon, and I would add to that America are quite strong contenders and possibly threats. But they attempted, not criticizing or anything, but it's an interesting point to be made. They attempted to sell our strategic resources to them, to the countries in question. Now, we only managed to sell, I think, one iron to America or Babylon. I can't recall correctly. But what do you think of that? Selling our strategic resources to countries that may possibly be a threat in the future.
Okay, well, I've just gotten told. Sorry about that. I just got told that I should repeat the question told by Blanca, because, as I understand it, the Discord tends to be a little bit funky when hearing questions. But he has stated that recently we attempted to sell strategic resources to the countries in question here when we talk about countries that we're potentially going to go to war with, countries like America, Babylon, and Siam. And the question was, should we continue to be selling strategic resources? I believe in this case we've sold one iron at the current moment, even though they are potentially a threat to us.
It should be added that they attempted to sell.
I think we should really focus on isolation at the moment. Well, not complete isolation, but we have the city-states above us. That's free resources up there. Iron. I wasn't aware that we'd sold iron to them, but I don't think we should be selling horses or iron, or in the future oil or coal, to potential enemies. If it was a luxury resource, I might find that a bit more acceptable. But I really don't think we should be gearing up their army in any sense. I don't think we're pressed for money. Is there any reason why we sold iron to them?
In all honesty, I can't recall. I think it was just a way to perhaps make more money, in general. Relay that,
Okay.
Tex?
Okay, so just to expand on that, we have responses from Behemoth and Polster on that same question of what do you believe the most justified use of force? And the responses I have here is, and I will read you the comment chain because it's a little bit mixed up, but here we go. I get from Polster, which once again is AJOS Smilden, or AJOL Smilden, to move objects. Behemoth responds with, I like that answer. And then I ask them to expand on that. Polster begins with an analogy. I have a puppy. I want the puppy next to me. I use force to move him closer to me, which is a very... Interpret that as you wish, but I personally see it as a very kind of a hawkish nature, but that's
Profound.
certainly a desirable trait in a lot of cases in this upcoming election. And for Behemoth, I have stating once again that he liked that answer, and that I think any use of force, as long as we will win the war, come out with it again, that is highlighted, is justifiable. In a computer game, we aren't really murdering and raping actual people, which is very meta perspective. So I think that's very good. I guess if we have no more questions, I believe we're going to start wrapping this up in just a little bit. So I'm going to ask one last question from me. I'm going to take a look around, see if there are any more questions in the comments and other places, and then we will finishing up with last statements. So give me 1 minute to compose that.
Okay, while he composes his goodbye statement, I'd like to address what Polster said. I find it to be a beautiful metaphor. The puppy being his ultimate goal. He has a puppy. But
I have two puppies. I have two puppies. Both of them will eat your face if you give it to them.
I don't think I'm gonna take that back. I don't think that was a metaphor. Well, I'll bail him out. He has two goals. He has two puppies. He wants them. He uses force to bring them closer to him. I think that's a beautiful statement from Polster or Age or Kitty. So I can interpret that as him being for the use of force for our own personal gain. I can't say I disagree with that.
Okay, great stuff. And for my last question of the night, before we go to closing statements, and would be, who is our greatest ally? In the future, who do you see working with us? Or are there none available?
Our greatest ally is ourselves. I don't see Siam or Babylon surviving as long as we're on the continent. Maybe Washington, see him working with us. I don't think we should rely on him though, necessarily. He could just as easily attack us. But I think city-states, we should focus on becoming friendly with city-states. They'll give us what we need, and they'll give us, especially militaristic ones, they'll give us a nice sense of security. But I don't think we should trust other civs as long as we're pushing for victory. Because it's very likely we'll go for a domination victory. Yeah, as Polster accurately says, he doesn't think we have any good allies. I'd agree with that. I
Yes,
don't think
as
we
you
should be making them either.
As you and Polster seem to both agree with Polster's statement here that says, I don't think we should have any good allies in general. Civ 5 civs aren't very friendly, which is, I like how meta everyone is being here. It shows a very calculating way of thought. We will just wait for Behemoth here for another couple moments, and if we don't get a response, we can move on to our final statements.
I gotta go 1 sec. See ya.
It was good to have you, Blondhawk, which, for the record, was the former Speaker of the House, the current general in charge of Democraciv's military.
And can I just say it feels brilliant to be known as the former speaker? You have no idea how much that means to me. Goodbye.
Bye.
Okay,
Polster, you are very quiet. It's very difficult to hear you at the current moment. I don't know if
Sure.
but I'm having a lot of trouble.
You would run and you would get it and you would beat everybody. Seriously, you run like the.
Okay, we have just lost Polster, unfortunately. I assume he will be back momentarily. But with that, I guess I will be taking everyone's final remarks here. Anything last thing I want to say to the, I guess I can now say, listening audience, as well as our beautiful readers, which we have here at the Globalist. Any last response to them before we kick off with elections, I believe, starting tomorrow?
My final response would be, don't be afraid of change. We should experiment a little bit to find the perfect formula. That seems to be what concerns people most, change. They don't like it.
Okay, we do have a little quote from Wheeze here, which is, let's not rush into change either, which I believe is a response to CJRD's remark. Now, while we wait for Behemoth's and Pulsar's remarks, I will give you a chance to respond to that.
I think that's a good point. Let's not rush into change, but let's not neglect it either. I think I can say I agree with him a little bit there. Let's not change things too much, but let's make sure we don't stagnate.
Okay, well, I think we unfortunately, I appear to be stammering over my words. We don't appear to be getting much response from Aegis Million or Behemoth, which is very okay. It happens. A lot of these times we have technical difficulties along the way. But Aegis Million is just now writing something up. So I expect good things from him, and I will close this down. Great work, everybody. This is enlightening, and I apologize for technical and physical failures on my part. I've been in my own way a little bit this time round, and hopefully, as we go forward, we can clean a lot of these up, especially with the legislative debate happening in just about 15 minutes. So look forward for that. Look forward to the next debate we will be having next election. And as always, stay global. And good luck, everyone.